Hello, my dear students. This is Mrs. Shaima Gharib, and today's lesson about squaring and decimal square numbers. Let's start by revising some rules before you watch any video. First, you have to sit in a quiet place. You should have your pen and a piece of paper to take notes and to solve the questions. You should pause the video after each question, then you try to answer on your own. Then you play the video to check your answer and to understand the question in case you get a wrong answer. Are you ready? Let's start. Let's remember together some important information about the square numbers. We know that when we multiply a number by itself, it gives a square number. And when we multiply the number by itself, it's called squaring. So we square the number to get a square number. Some square numbers are called perfect squares. When we multiply an integer by itself, it gives a perfect square. Some decimal numbers are square numbers. There are an infinite number of square numbers. Now let's revise squaring. Squaring means to multiply the number by itself or to raise the number to the power of 2. So when I say 3 to the power of 2 or 3 squared, it means the 3 multiplied by itself, 3 times 3, which is 9. If I said negative 3 squared, it will be exactly the same. The negative 3 is multiplied by itself. Negative 3 times negative 3. When we multiply a negative number by another negative number, the answer gives a positive number. Then the answer will be 9 as well. So if I squared a negative number, the answer is positive. Okay? Now look at this example. Negative 8 squared. And I put the negative number between brackets, because when we square a negative number, we put it between brackets. Please remember this information. And the answer, as we said before in the previous example, the answer will be a positive number. So let's do it. Negative 8 squared means negative 8 times negative 8, which is the same as 8 squared, which is 64. Okay? So now, can you list some square numbers? Let's remember the square numbers together. The 1, then 4, then 9, then 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, 100, 121, 144, 169, 196, 225, 256, 289, and 324. So these are some square numbers in order, starting from the first square number, which is 1, up to 324, which is the square number of 18. Is this clear? Now, we can say that 1 is a square number, and we said about the one before that 1 is a very special number. It is a square number, it is a cube number, and it is a triangular number. And we can find an endless number of square numbers. Now, let's talk about squaring decimal numbers, especially the 1 decimal place numbers. For example, if I have 0.8 multiplied by 0.8, when we multiply decimal numbers, we have to look at the decimal place. So in the first number, I have 1 decimal place. In the second number, it has 1 decimal place. Then the answer must have 2 decimal places, because it will be the same as 8 times 8 dividing by 100. So 8 times 8 is 64. then you should have a decimal point after 2 places, so the answer will be 0.64. And also for squaring a decimal number, the decimal number, we have to put it between brackets as well, same as the negative number. So when I'm squaring a negative number or a decimal number, I must put the number between brackets. So 0.8 times 0.8 is same as 0.8 squared, which is equal 0.64. Is this clear? Now let's see one more example. Let's find the value of this one. 0.6 squared, or to the power of 2. 0.6 times 0.6 equals 0.36. So this is 0.36 is a square number. Now 0.5 squared is 0. What do you think? 25. So 0.25 or quarter is a square number. 0.7 squared equals 0.49. More examples. 0.1 squared equals, what do you think? 0.01. And 1.1 squared, it's same as 11 squared, which is 121. And we said we must have 2 decimal places, so it will be 1.21. 0.3 squared, what do you think? It's 0.09. What do you notice about squaring 1 decimal place numbers? When I square a 1 decimal place number, the square number of it always has 2 decimal places, as you can see in all these examples. Is this clear? Now let's list some decimal square numbers. The first one, when I square the 0.1, it will give me 0.01. If I want to square 0.2, it will give me 0.04. What do you notice here? It's the same as the perfect square numbers, but the only difference that it has 2 decimal places. So 1, 4, we used to say 149, so the coming one will be 0.09, then 16, which is 0.16, then 25, which is 0.25, and so on. So the coming one will be 0.36, then 0.49, then 0.64, 0.81, and 1.21, 1.44. Is this clear? Now, let's have some questions. Which of the following numbers are square numbers? Look at all these numbers and check which one of these numbers is a square number. What about number 6? Is number 6 a square number? No. So I'm going to say no. 0.16, yes, it is the square number of 0.4. What about 81? Yes, of course, it's the square number of number 9. 2.5, is it the square number of 0.5? No, because the square number of 0.5 will be 0.25, not 2.5. So this one is incorrect. 144, of course, it's a square number of 12. 0.09, yes, it's a square number of 0.3. 1, of course, it is a square number. 46, is 46 a square number? Of course not. 1.21, yes, of course, it is the square number of 1.1. 8, is 8 a square number? No. It is a cube number. Now, let's see one more question. Adam says it's impossible to find a negative square number. Is Adam correct? Explain. What do you think? Can we find a negative square number? Of course, no. So Adam is correct. It's impossible to find a negative square number. So why? What is the reason for that? Because there is no number when you multiply it by itself will give a negative number. So do you know any number when you multiply it by itself, it gives you a negative number? Of course not, because we know that any negative number multiplied by another negative number, it will give us a positive number. So there is no number when you multiply it by itself, it will give you a negative number. This is the end of our lesson today. Thank you for watching and see you soon.